Hello everybody. Just give it a couple of minutes here until 30 or 40 seconds and we'll see who shows up. We're going to do a snowman head today. There we go. Got one person here. Hello. Hello, Jim and Beth. Hello, Jane. How are things up in Canada? I heard Ann was getting snow again, so I saw a few flurries today. We had a whopper of a thunderstorm yesterday here in PA. It was up in the 60s. We had our tornado watch until from 1 p.m. to 7, and I think they had something in Montgomery County. I don't know if that was truly a problem or not, but anyhow, hello James and Daniel. Alright, so we're going to start here. We're going to start with a block. The block is going to be 2.5 inches high by 1.5 by 1.5 square. Okay, 2.5 high, 1.5 by 1.5 square. Now I'm just showing you a couple of things here. We did just to push these back a little bit, we did the penguin last week. Last year I made a larger one from a 3 by 2 instead of a 2.5 by 1.5, and a real fat little guy. He's up for sale on my website. So these are the larger ornaments. These are the smaller ones. This is the one we've been working with most of the time. So whatever you can do with this one, you can also transfer it to a larger size of your choice. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. All right, so so yeah, so it's up to you. Hello, Bob. It's up to you on which size you want to use, but it's very simple to switch this into a larger block. As long as it's a block, you'll be fine, okay? So this one's going to go back up here with the ones I sell. Let me get rid of this other one so I'm not confused where it belongs. Yes, I finished my hot chocolate already. Now I'll get a second one later on. Whoops. I'm trying to have some order here. Alright, so here we go. We're going to take our knife, whatever knife, put your thumb guard on, and your glove if you have a glove. And let me get a little closer here. Alright, so the first, notice these are all a little bit different. Now, it depends how you want to paint them. You can do it without a scarf. We're going to do one with a scarf today. You can do it with eyes or without eyes. Whichever you think is easier. Hello, Al. And Elizabeth, hello. So, take our knife. This is the longest part, is getting this portion together, okay? That's the toughest part on this, really. So we're going to start up. I'm going to start up a little higher, right about there. Okay, and what I did is I marked it off just like we do with all the other hats. So I come down and around. We're going to leave some room for putting in some eyes. So I'm going to go up a little higher here, and I'm going to come down a little bit. And then you go through the back, and it's about 1/4 of an inch on the back. All right. So I thought we'll do another easy one tonight for beginners here. I also have, before I continue, I also have these. Now, I did these online already. You can find this one on YouTube and if you want. And it's a little more involved with getting the hat out and stuff. But I already have a video of this. So I'm trying to do things that I don't have a video of. that I haven't done before. So I'm not even sure if I did a Santa head. I didn't really, I mean a snowman head. But anyway, let's get started, otherwise we're going to be here too long. I do all my corners, the back, the front. Now when you're doing this one here, you don't want to go down too far because your nose is going to stick out quite a ways. Alright, see how far that nose is sticking out? Let's take the smaller one. Alright, so you're really going to do some digging away here a little bit. Alright, you're going to take a little bit of that off as well, and you're going to go down a little bit more. And you're going to just go straight in. We're trying not to cut too much off, because that's probably as far as you want to go down on it, okay? Then we're going to take our little hefty little V-tool, my V3.5, and we're just going to kind of follow this all the way up to there. Follow this one all the way down. And going up from here on up. There we go. Perfect. And that just gives us a guideline. Alright, so we're going to take our knife and we're going to follow this down and make that a little deeper. And you want to be careful you don't cut into the hat if you can help it. Alright. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them if I can catch the question before it scrolls out of the out of sight. This will be up on YouTube as always about an hour later. So if you miss it here, you can catch it there. I've had the penguin was more of a hit than I thought it was going to be. We had a lot of people look at that, which is good. I think sometimes some simple projects are fun. They don't take too long to do. You can do them in an evening or do a couple in an evening or so. I'm not including the painting with that, okay? It's just the carving portion of it. I have about 20 pieces over, maybe 30 that need to be painted, and I just, for the love of God, I cannot get into that. So we're going to just round this off a little bit. Alright. We're going to bring the back part of his hat down. And what we're going to do here is we're going to start sweeping over. So we're going to just start. And remember, when we do a tassel at the top, you do a couple of things. You can go from corner to corner, hit the corner, and you can go corner to corner on this side. Hello from Mississippi. Alright. Someday when this coronavirus is over, I hope to visit some places. I'm not much of a traveler, but I think I'm ready to travel a little bit. So maybe catch a couple of carving shows other places than Pennsylvania. I was at Frankenmuth a number of years ago. I was up at the Ontario show years ago. So what you want to do is, if you want to draw this little tassel on, just to give you, if you do it in quarters, it's much easier. It gives you a little bit better idea how. Now that's pretty wide, but I like it a little fat. A little thing. Alright. No, this is the wrap that I use on my fingers. It's a self-adhesive wrap. Okay, so we're going to keep going. Somebody asked what I had on my thumbs, and it's just that adhesive wrap. So we're just going to keep going here, and we're just going to chop a lot of this out right away. I'm going to spray it a little bit more to soften it up. And I use a concoction of 70% rubbing alcohol and water, 50-50. And I put it in a spray bottle, and I'll tell you, it just makes it much easier to carve. And really having the right wood really makes a difference as well. If you don't have the right wood or the right knife, any of those factors can make it a very frustrating hobby. So I'm going to keep going until I get to that line. I'll keep looking at the top to make sure. And we're almost there, not quite. We'll do as much. I'm very sorry, folks. That whole thing just froze up on me. I just lost everybody here, and I just got back online. I don't see anybody popping in yet, but they will. There's one person. Welcome back. There's a second one. Okay, good. Sorry that that happened. I don't know why it freezes up. It does from time to time, and I have no idea why. But I'm putting my line around the Snowman's tassel where I have to dig it in really far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my knife for this right now, and we're going to just go around. And, well, actually, why don't I use my little V-tool? It makes it a little bit easier. I'm just going to follow that line with my V-tool. It just helps me distinguish where that line should be. Alright. Get this one over here. Welcome back. I'm sorry about that, folks. I don't know why it does that. Alright, so I took my little V-tool all the way around. So now this is the most difficult part, is getting this down to where you want it here. So we're just going to go around back and forth, and we're going to just start notching this out. Alright, this seems to take the longest. Hello, Justin. I'm sorry I lost everybody there. I don't know why, but it happens. I'll try to make the tape into one later on. I'll try to merge them together. Part 1 and 2. I think people prefer to watch it all at once instead of trying to search for it. So I'll do my best with that. You notice I'm rocking it so I can get in there. You can take the tip of your knife and follow it out and make a line. That's up to you as well. But I prefer just to take it a little bit at a time, all the way around, and then we're going to straighten it out, and then we'll finish it up a little bit later and go to something else. And like I said, this is the longest part to do. A little boring if you're just watching. But, see how much further I have to go here? You can see it. Yes, it is basswood. I love basswood. Some people will work in all kinds of different carvings. I prefer the basswood over anything else. I guess I got really used to it. Some people work in Tupelo, but I wouldn't recommend that with knife carving if you're going to do birds and stuff like that. Some people carve in butternut. That's okay too, but I find it a little brittle. Some people do sugar pine. Again, you deal a lot with the grain with that, so you know, I'm almost there. So let's take a couple more, another minute or so here, and we'll get this cut out. And notice I'm always putting the pressure on with my thumb. I'm not doing it with my hand. I'm doing it with pushing it with the other thumb. That's not holding the knife. It's a real safe way of doing it. Now I'm hurrying here. If you're doing this at home, I want you to take your time with it. You know, and so that's pretty well where we're at right now. So let's leave it there for now. And we're going to round up the hat just a little bit. Take these corners off a little bit at a time. There we go. Hello, Rhonda. I'm going to take this back a little bit because I want that nose to stick out a little ways. I've had my online store. I got about 30 or 40 pieces on there. You can have a pickup, curbside pickup at the farm. A couple of people have already done that. Some people have already ordered online. And if you go to the website and you're going to order something, it will say if it's out of stock. I won't take it off, but if it says it's out of stock, it means it's been sold, because I only put like one item down for it, of course. I wasn't sure how that was going to work, and I noticed it yesterday, so I'm just going to leave it up. I don't want to keep going back and forth and trying to remove stuff. So it's already sold. It will say sold out. Okay, but I'll be adding a few more things in this week. Some people want that mask thing, so I'm going to have to make a couple more of those. I'm going to take these corners off here and round the hat up a little bit more. There we go. The hat's shaping up. Okay, now right here where we have the nose, right, or that carrot nose, we're going to go just down a little bit and give it just a little bit of grace here by not making it a point right away. And we're going to just take it at an angle down, and we're going to just sweep it up. You'll notice in a second here how this will go here. Okay. Now you notice that this is a little bit on the round side when you look at it straight on. Okay. And what I do there is I just round that square off a little bit. But right now we're going to just make it a little bit deeper, and we're just going to keep cutting down. Okay, just like so. All right, now we're going to round this portion off. We're going to round this portion off a little bit. All right, so what we're going to do here is, I don't know if we're going to have enough room for the eyeballs or not here. I need to bring this up a little bit more. I'm going to recut this, right, like so. Sometimes if you don't have enough room there for the eyes, you can always cut it up. As long as you don't go too deep on the initial cut, you can lift it up if you need to, okay? So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to take my pencil, and I'm just going to make a little bit of a circular cut there. All right, well, that looks a little off, but we'll fix that up, okay? So what I'm going to do with my knife, I'm going to use my other little knife that's a little more pointier. What we're going to do is we're going to push this down and around. And we're just going to slowly start removing right along his nose there, okay? And on the top. Just like you do with the Santas, we're just going to round it off a little bit. Just like so, all right? And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I'll have another class next week, I believe. Till almost up to Christmas, probably we'll do something every week. And then in January, we'll continue I know a lot of people will be home and I'm traveling a whole lot. I know a lot of people didn't travel this year because of the COVID, and I do believe next year will be a whole different ball game. I'm hoping. Okay, so I'm going to go up here and I'm going to cut a little more out because I don't have enough room. Thought I had plenty of room there, but I certainly don't. Okay, so what I want to do is make it deeper in these areas here. Okay, right at this very, very top. So I'm going to cut this up a little higher. I'm going to cut this in a little bit deeper, and we're just going to scoop this out. Just like so. That's it. Okay? Same over here. We're going to bring this out, bring it up along the nose, and we're going to just sweep this out. Alright. Alright. I'm going to round this off a little bit right here. Okay. Going to round this off a little bit more, take all this rough stuff off right away. Because we don't want any rough stuff, meaning that rough cut from the bandsaws or from the planer when they cut this wood. And we're going to round it off to that little area here, okay? I'm holding it on the table, all right? So it's starting to shape up pretty good. All right, so now we have the nose in there. Now I always have a little bit of a cheek and a mouth and a place for, I like putting the scarf on them. I don't care for it just plain, but you know, some people like it that way. But the nice thing about the scarves, you can make them any color. You can make them blue, you can make them green. And I like putting little dots on the hat and stuff and on the scarf. It just makes it look a little nicer, okay? So it's up to you and however you want to do it. Okay, so let's keep going with this and then we'll figure out the eyes in a little bit. So the first thing I want to find out is where that scarf is going to come. So it's going to come right from the bottom part of the hat here, okay? We're going to take it just around the bottom like so, and the other side. So, all right, just like so. All right. Then here we're going to put his, now you can make a little bit of a curvature there. And on the other side of his nose. And then we'll put his mouth in. And it's very, very simple. Okay, you can see it coming already, right? So the first thing I want to do is I want to put in the scarf. Okay, I'm looking for my V tool. Here it is. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight up, follow that line. I'm going to go down to the bottom here. We're going to cut this out a little bit more. This just gives me a where to go. It's like the first cut. It helps guide me where to go. Okay, all right, just like so. All right. Then I take my knife and I also take it a little bit at an angle. All right, and we take it right up to the hat. And I'm going to cut down. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger V cut.
New message is received from Sean.
Oh, hang on.
Message is is that trailer space still available?
Hang on. Let me get rid of that here. Hang on just a second here. Let me get rid of the... All right. Okay. I'll answer him later. Okay. Okay, so I have this, and I have this done. So I'm going to go back this way, and I don't want to make a big deal with this section right here, but we want to round this off a little bit. Okay, we don't want it sharp edges anywhere. What I mean by sharp edges are these little corners that you see here. Okay, I kind of round them off a little bit, but we're going to take this portion down. So we're going to tuck this underneath. Okay, each corner is going to be tucked underneath a little bit. Okay, we're going to redo his hat. We're going to put his hat a little bit closer to his head. And same thing with here. We're just going to kind of trim this out a little bit. Just like so. Yep. Alright. I'm going to try to clean that up a little bit. You notice the nose is sticking out. Alright. And now we need to put the eyes in. We'll do that next. Worry about this stuff later here. In fact, I may bring this down just a bit more. Down a little bit more. There we go. Alright. So, when we put the eyes in, it's no different than doing the Santas. It's always the same. Alright. The Santas, of course, the bigger the eyes are, the cuter they look. You know, these eyes are pretty big. These are kind of crazy looking, but they're there. And so I want to go pretty as large as I can there. So let me just clean this up a little bit here. And I'm just going to scoop just a tiny bit more out. Make a little bit of a flat plane there. But, you know, that should be your deepest part, is right there where your nose and the hat meet. Alright? So, oh, thank you, John. I haven't decided for next week yet. I'm not ready to do the mouse. I think that's going to take way too long. So I'll figure something out for next week. I might start a different size. I have different sizes now. I have the Ornament series, I have the Sitting series, and I might go to a different size and do a little bit larger Santas without doing them for ornaments. So I've figured that out. So let's go back up here. We're going to go down near the, I know it's not technically not right, but it's going to come from here, and we're going to just scoop it down like so. Okay, same thing over here. We're going to just scoop it. Is that deep enough? Not really. I'm not happy with that. So if I'm not happy with it, I go back and I cut out just a tad more until I'm satisfied with it. And that's true with any of the carving. You always look at it, and if it doesn't look right to you, then you just go back and do it over again. Or change it. Okay, so that's up a little higher. And we're going to just, so there's his eyes, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do this with the knife. So what I do is I just take my knife and I just follow that line with the tip of my knife. And I go from the inside first, not the other way around. Inside first. Well, it seems like this pandemic is going to be around for a while, so I think I'll be doing these classes for quite some time yet. Well into next year, anyway. So if you've enjoyed it, it will continue. And right there, we're going to make it a little bit deeper right there. Add that in a little bit. Alright, so it looks like the face is a little bit more rounded than just squared off there. Okay, see the difference on the two sides? Okay, let's do the other eye. So we're going to follow it out with the tip of the knife. We're going to slowly bring it up and around. From the inside, we're going to take out that portion of the eye. Alright, and then we're going to do the bottom part. Thank you, Jane. Yeah, I think I've had a very good response with the not only the class, but online, when I put them on YouTube, there's so many people that are watching it and taking a look at it. So, thank you, Jack and Jenny. Alright, so we'll keep it on Tuesday nights. I think that's so far a pretty good night. So if you want to go a little deeper, you can. That's up to you. I might just take a little swig in here yet. And cut a little more out. There we go. So it looks a little deeper. Alright, so that's how you put the eyes in. It's not difficult. It's just a couple of cuts. And all that. So right here we're going to start with, I'm going to take the little, keep them upright. We're going to go from the bottom here, and we're going to follow this line with a little V tool. Okay, and we're just going to swing it up and around to the nose. Just like so. Alright. Same thing over here. You try to kind of try to match the two. Okay. I think maybe my problem with this taping, sometimes it stops, is something, maybe I have too much stuff on this device and have to clean it out before I start. So let's take this down. We're going to cut from the top. We're going to angle it a little bit, and we're going to bring this right up. We're going to make that a little deeper and more distinct. And then we're going to round this portion off with it. Again, we're going to remove all this stuff here. And right here, remember on the other side what we did? Right here? We're going to do the same thing into this side. So all it is doing a little triangular cut right there. So you tuck it in. The same thing with eyeballs. You do the same thing with an eyeball when you want to make it look a little bit more rounded. Okay? So that's that portion of it. So let's just trim this up a little bit more. Round this up. Let's take care of this side of the cheek. Again, I'm going to take a lot of this rough stuff off. Now right here, we're going to bring this down a little bit. I'm just going to round that a little bit more. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with this cheek over here. We're going to just bring this up and around a little bit deep, and we're going to go from the underside, and we're going to cut that out. There we go. And we're going to trim that off. Looks like, okay, there we go. Alright, and we're going to trim this, round this off a little bit, right there. Alright, so a lot of this stuff has to come off yet. I'm going to tuck this in a little bit more. Alright. Now, you got to have him smiling. So, you could have him grumpy, or you can have him smiling. We'll have him smiling. So we're going to do this. A little bit of a curvature, like so. And we're going to take the V tool, and I'm going, let me round that off a little bit more. I don't care for that. Let me just round it off just a tiny bit more. It's too flat there. And a little bit more here. I'm going to trim this off in a little bit here. But let me just take all this rough stuff off. Okay, very good. Now this here, all this will come off later. I'll just go over it really gently with my knife and, you know, take that rough stuff off before I paint it. Because if you don't, it's going to look a little funny. Okay, so we've got that brim hat to do yet, so we've got more to do. So, yeah, it's a little deep there. Let's see if we can straighten that out a little bit more. There we go. Alright, so we've got his little face there. We're going to put his little smile in there a little bit. So this is going to be You can do this just with a V tool if you want. And when you paint it, it's very simple. You're just going to, I usually redo it again with the knife to make it a little more distinct. So I just follow it out with the knife at an angle, and then I do the bottom part the same way. And that's it. Alright, there you go. Now, let's keep going with the scarf. We're going to round this off the bottom a little bit more. And we're going to round this off. Tuck this up and underneath here. I'm going to spray it again because I got to take care of that tassel at the top. Alright. So, we're going to round this off a little bit into the hat a little bit here. Okay? Give it a little bit of a rounded look. Again, we're going to get rid of all this rough stuff everywhere. And then we're going to put a couple of folds in it. Alright, there you go. Alright, so once we have that done, I usually have the scarf coming in one area, like right here. And right here you can see it. And that I painted it a little bit different, like there's little thingamajiggers in there. You can carve those in too, those little I don't know what they call it, little tassels or whatever they call them. Anyway, what I do normally is I just go to the one side or the other and I just put 1, 2, 3, and 4, like an M. Okay? All I do is follow it with my knife. I do 1, and I usually cut from the center out. Okay? In and then out. In and then out. And then you can just go back to it. Just like so. Alright? If it doesn't free up, don't pull it, because then you might be pulling some of this up at the top. Alright? Alright. So now I want to put a couple folds on the side. Now how do you create that? It's very simple. You just take your knife and you go down one way at an angle and just do a nice little V cut, just like so, and one underneath. Doesn't free up, you come back and do it again. Alright, just like so, and then I bring it around a little bit, just, to continue with that, so it looks like it's going around the body. I do both sides. It's amazing how you can make things. This is almost like flat plane carving when you start doing this kind of stuff. You're just putting a couple of cuts in to make it look like a fold. Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit there. Just like so. Alright. And we're going to just do a little bit in the back here. Okay, so that's how that fold looks kind of crazy, too wide. So, but that's how you have the folds in there, and that's how you get those folds. Alright, so I didn't put anything on the back. So we're going to go back to the hat here, and I'm going to take my knife with the tassel, and we're going to go all the way around once or twice. Very carefully. and we're going to cut in. Not from the center. You don't want to go all the way to the top. Alright. We're trying to round it up a little bit. So this is the other part of the tassel. Okay, and then I'm going to come to the top here and I'm going to just start going around. Take that edge off. And if you want to make it look thicker, you make it a bit smaller, okay? Or you go down a little further, but that worked for me. So I'm just going to take that rough stuff off at the top. And that's kind of the tassel, alright? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just kind of get this all the way to the tassel here and round off the top part of his hat. Take those hard edges off, like this corner right here, okay? Same thing, we're going to take that off. We're going to take this corner off as well. We're going to try to round his head up a little bit more. And we're going to go right up into the tassel. Alright. You want to be careful you don't bang the knife up on the top here. So the next thing we're going to do real quick, and we're going to take all those little edges off. Alright, and we're going to take our little our pencil, and we're going to just go over and make the brim of the hat. Now I like a thicker brim than too skinny of a one. I always said fat eyes, fat nose, fat belly, all that's cute on a snowman or on a Santa. I'll give you an example. When you look at, if he was skinny, he wouldn't be as cute if he had a skinny belly, okay? So if you have a little fat belly, or, you know, a fat tassel is cute too. You know, things that are bigger usually are cuter. So, okay, so I was following that all the way around. So let's keep going with that. Won't be too much longer, we'll be done with this. So, I'm going to take my defty little, I'm going to go on this side of that line. It's too small there. I'm going to work my way around from the back up. Usually I do it the other way, but I feel like doing it this way today. Just to be something different. Okay, so I'm going to go follow that line. Now there isn't a lot of room between, you know, between the brim and the tassel there, so you want to leave some room there to put your red hat on, or your blue hat, or whatever color you're going to make this. You know, you don't have to make it into a Christmas one, you can just make it into a winter snowman. Blue is always a good choice. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to trim that out a little bit right there. And just bring that up a little bit more. So I'm going to just, yeah, it's a little different. I like that. That's good. Alright. And we're going to follow this out with my knife, like I always do. Like score it or put my stop cut in there. And then we're going to follow that out. Let me take my other knife. Then we're going to follow that out all the way around. I'm going to follow it out this way. There's a lot of cleanup on this. You know, there's There's not a lot to do with the V tool other than the brim and the tassel. You don't have to do a beard or anything, you know, so that's kind of nice. And this is going to come down a little bit. We're going to get rid of all this rough stuff later on. When I have a chance, when I'm offline, I'll take care of that. Alright, and then we're going to round this off a little bit more. Let me bring this down here. Well, I heard that the Canadian border might be closed until January 2022. That's a long time. Another year. But hopefully it won't be that long. I was at a store yesterday. Very few people were wearing a mask. When I go to Walmart, most people are. If you go into some of these other establishments that are mom and pop operations, a lot of them don't have a mask on. So, I know. Jack, I need help with the fence. I think I have a young fella that's willing to help me out with some of it if I need him. So, he's going to help me straighten out some of the fence lines and stuff. And, alright, so that's kind of where we're at with this, folks. You know, I keep fussing with it. We're going to do a little bit of the finalizing it here. And I'm going to have to take some time when I'm offline to finish the rest of it and clean it up a little bit more. But it's kind of what it looks like. Now, some people, they just do the tassel and they don't do the brim of the hat. You can leave it. But I always think when you put these little V-cuts in it, it just makes the thing pop. You know, really, it makes it stand out. So we're going to do a little bit of that. So I always start to the bottom, okay? I just go at an angle all the way around. And let me sharpen this up a little bit. Take it to my little... I haven't had a chance. I want to bring that little wheel in here in the house. It would be a lot easier than in the shop there. I'm doing more and more in the house. So, but, let me cut that out. I don't like that. Alright. So, you know, just go a little bit at an angle. And you can make it as deep as you want or as light as you want. It doesn't really matter. You know, I would tell you to try to do it a little bit lighter than really deep. It just makes it a little easier to cut it, and it's, you know, just makes it a little easier. And then I start from here. I keep following that line. And I keep going in a circle until I'm all the way done. And take your time. You're not racing with anybody. I'm racing against time, but you don't have to. Alright, so you just keep going in a circle. And somehow it will mesh all together. You don't think so, it will. I'm going to do a little bit back here, just to help me out with my shoulder and my hand here. Had some trouble with both. And it's not fun getting older. But at least we're getting older. Alright, so that's how you do it. Okay, you keep following that line all the way around. Then, when I do this, you can scoop this out a little bit more if you want. Make this a little flatter. Like it's tucked underneath there a little bit, maybe. Alright, just like so. I like that a little better. And then we'll take this and we're going to go the same way, same direction. I'm just going to do the front here, and you can see, and I keep following Alright, I turn it the other way and I do the other side. Be careful you don't hit the eyeball or the nose when you go around the corner here. I'll try to get this up on YouTube in an hour or so for you folks. Yeah. Alright, let me flip this over and let's mesh this together. I usually do the top and the bottom and then I mesh it together. And I won't do the back side. I'll do that when I get offline. But that's the way it's done. And so when I paint it, you can paint it any which way you like. I usually put a light blue and the pupil black and then a dot. Okay, the little black line that you see going around right here, that's actually a dark gray first, and then I put the blue, and then I put the pupil, and then the dot. So there's 4 layers here. You can do it with 3, but I like that little black line going around it. I think that makes it stand out a little bit, and it's so slight, but it's nice to do it that way. I always paint from the middle to the edge, not from the edge to the middle, because if you load up your brush too much, you'll end up, bleeding it into a different color. So if you're painting, this is just a little bit of like blush for his cheeks. I just use the pumpkin color for the carrot nose. And if you want to make a round nose and not a carrot nose, you can. And you can make it like a coal color if you want. That's up to you. Then I did a light blue for the scarf. And then just little dots. I like little dots. I think the dots kind of make it stand out a little bit as well. So it's just basically, and you can make the hat blue if you want. I've done that as well. And made both match. That's up to you as well. So it's quite easy to paint these. It's just a little bit of blush, and all that is a little bit. You load your brush and take most of the excess off, and then just run it here with a little bit of white and mix it together. And the lips are just a light pink, and I just do it right in the crevice where you cut. And that's it. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed tonight's little lesson of doing the snowman head. And hopefully I'm going to round this off a little bit more. I'm not completely satisfied with that, but because of time I'm not going to do that here. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we will come back next week, and I'll come up with another idea for then. Okay? Take care, folks, and have a great night. Bye-bye.